Welcome back to That Rugby podcast hosted by the Rugby Booth. It's your boy Luke, boy Husey, back again. Look, a lot of things again. We discussed it last week. There was a lot of things happening. Another week of a lot of things happening in World Rugby, particularly a Lions squad named. So we were going to discuss it heavily with an Australian rugby fan to see his verdict on the squad, what his thoughts are, how they're going to beat them 3-0, how that works. So we'll get into his head doing that with Husey, discuss a little bit about the Wallabies squad as well and where we could see some surprises there. Under 20 Rugby Championship and, of course, Super Rugby. Let's start with Super Rugby. Look, the Blues are in form. The Blues went to the Drua and did what not many teams can do, and that's spank the Drua 34-5. Sent a message to the rest of the league that they're not done yet, which is a nervous wait, and I'm a little bit afraid of it. But saying that, the Chiefs beat the Crusaders, so it was like a balancing of evils. I obviously want the Blues to lose. I want the Crusaders to lose. I'll take the Crusaders' loss over a Blues loss any day of the week, even though the Blues are battling with my Hurricanes for a final spot. That's how much I hate the Crusaders. And I'm glad the Chiefs went to Crusaders country and knocked them out. Yeah. In the other matchups, my friends, an Australian team's battle, and you fuckers suck. You fuckers suck. I sat there and supported you. I was sitting there like, you've got this. 21-14, 21-all. I was like, they're still attacking. They're down in the right zone. They're going to win this. The Tars, they're going to do this. If they're at home. And then you fucking let the Reds march 100 metres up the field, score a try. Probably had a penalty scrum at the end there that wasn't awarded, and then Lange Gleeson ends up dropping the fucking ball. So, thoughts on that, my friend? Run me through your thoughts and feelings.
For everyone that keeps saying like Gleeson deserves a place in the Wallaby squad, this is exactly why he's not going to get a spot in the Wallaby squad, because one of the things that Schmidt has emphasised above all others is doing the little things right. And handling errors have been the bane of the Wallabies' existence for the last however many years. I can't count how many times we've fucked something up because of someone dropping the ball. And Lange Gleeson is a great ball runner, but he needs to learn to hang on to the fucking ball. It wasn't his first handling error of the game. He had one where Fraser McWright, who was a fucking demon this game, ripped it straight out of his hands as well. McWright and Gamble I messaged you during the game, were just going at it in this one. And McWright got the better of it, as you'd expect him to. Look, Joseph Sully getting knocked out was a big blow as well. I think, though, the best thing that came out of this game as a Wallabies fan was that Taniela Tupou got some confidence with a try. First try of the year. And you could see his teammates running up to him and congratulating him and celebrating with him. Like, he's been quite open about his struggles this year and how it's affected him mentally as well. So to see all the support of the locker room behind him was pretty big, I think. And look, it was a pretty classic Waratahs thing to do, where we sacrificed ourselves for the greater good, like we did with the Brumbies last week. We helped the Reds with ladder positioning. We're going to do the same this week when we beat the Crusaders to hopefully get then the Reds a top 3 finish. The Brumbies are now in second position as well. So look, we're doing our part for the greater rugby health of Australia. Yeah, look, I thought Tane Edmund was pretty good in his return to the starting 10 jersey. Especially those opening 40 minutes were very, very good. But it's just not good enough. You could just see that the Waratahs are just a step behind the Reds and the Brumbies at the moment, similar to the Force. So we said as the season's gone on, there's been a clear delineation between the top 2 and the bottom 2 Aussie teams. Especially injury-wise. Look, Max Jorgensen won't be back at Waratahs colours this week, but he's back at club level for Randwick. So hopefully we'll see him the week after. But still some positive signs to Waratahs, but probably more positive signs for next year than this year.
Yeah, and can I just say to all those people who were saying fucking Lange Gleeson in my Instagram post on the Wallabies team that I selected, he signed for a French-based club for next year. So if we're going down the route of Lange Gleeson or Joe Smith selecting players who are leaving the shores, it doesn't happen often. Joe Smith likes people who are staying here. The kid's 23 years old or something like that, and he's chosen to go over to France with an opportunity at a Wallabies jersey. Get your fucking self out of it, out of the green and gold, because you don't deserve it. It's the exact same as preferences we discussed earlier with Noel Lolosio. If you make that decision to go overseas, I don't think you can be taken seriously for a Wallabies position. Saying that, you got good news and potentially a bolter into the Wallabies squad. Let's actually talk about the Wallabies slightly now before we come back to Super Rugby in this week. That is going to be massive. Pete Samu one of
Yeah,
the Pistol
Pistol
Pete
Pete
signing for the Waratahs for next year,
replacing
opens
Rob
the
Leona.
door. Opens the door for really him to come into this Lions squad because, in my opinion, Joe Schmidt will go, he's playing bloody good rugby over in Bordeaux. Again, they've made a European Championship final, so the highest level of the highest level. He's starting over there for them. He was great when he was with the Wallabies. He's coming back, so he's doing the whole now. Why wouldn't you put him in the Lions squad?
Well, see, here's the thing: is we've just got such a quality set of back rowers. Fraser McWright, Carlos Dezano, Rob Valentini, Harry Wilson. Already there's one man odd man out there. You add Pete Samu into the mix as well. I mean, it's a very good problem to have. It's a very, very good problem to have. I think your starting three for the Wallabies are going to be Bobby V, Fraser McWright, and Harry Wilson, because Harry Wilson will almost certainly be captain again, given he had a pretty good stint in there as captain, assuming he's healthy again, although I think he should be by the time the Lions tour rolls around. And then Pistol Pete gives you a bench option, him or Carlos Tizano, either or.
Do you double down on a 6-2 split? Like I'm just thinking this is going to be a big physical Lions squad and bench. Thinking, look, bring both Tizano and Pete Summer on the bench. You can take two of those flanks off, and you've got some real impact coming off that bench.
Yeah, but then you've only got one replacement lock then, and you have
one replacement lock anyway.
I know, but if you're going to double down on the 6-2, I would have thought you'd go for a double lock replacement to get a lot
I disagree. I think you always go flank.
Yeah, I know. I'm just worried about
McWright. You go to McWright. You do 60 minutes of the most pestering bullshit, and you just give me 60 minutes of that, and you go and steal as many balls as you can. You get as many rucks as you can. You make as many tackles, and then you come off. McWright will be fucking thankful for that and go, I'll give you 60 fucking good minutes. Tizano then comes on and goes, I'll do those 20 minutes of hard work. And I think the same for either Harry Wilson or Bobby V. You go, one of yours, 60 fucking minutes of hard work. We bring on Pistol Pete and we tear him up that Lions squad.
Who are your two replacement backs then?
Well, it's got to be a half. So I'm thinking you're either going Tate McDermott or Jake Gordon. And then, that leaves that position there. I guess I would probably go Ben Donaldson because the 10-15 ability, like Donaldson's showing that he's been able to play 10 and 15, done it at a World Cup. I would probably go in that direction. Who your starting 10 is, I'm not making that decision now, but I would say that versatility of Donaldson opens up that. The ability, everyone else, like, again, you can put any of those back three, you can play wing or fullback, and even centres, if you've got Suoli, say you start him at fullback, you can put him into centre. I think there's enough versatility in the Australian backs to be able to play a 6-2 split.
I think you're right as well. Look, in terms of the Wallabies squad, I think it's leaning every week more and more that Tom Lyon is going to be the starting 10 and potentially a James O'Connor bench. There's the latest Noah Lolesio injury. I think that all the scans are clear, so it's not a back or spinal injury, thankfully, but obviously a big concussion is going to be out for this next week. But as well, as we mentioned, he's signed overseas, so unlikely to be picked based on the Schmidt formula. There has been some speculation today or some news that Joe Schmidt has reached out to overseas-based players that they will be included in the Lions tour. So I'm imagining that will be a Will Skelton coming in for the lock position. And then that really helps your team selection then, because then you've got a lot of other locks to fill in the spots there. Nick Frost, Darcy Swain's had a great revival. Jeremy Williams has been incredibly versatile as well, especially at line-out time. He's just been a force there as well. So you've got a lot of options there. Potentially a Bernard Foley recall as well, just for that experience in the team. I imagine he's kicking around and asking Samu Karevi what he's doing. Marika Korobetti as well, just to get an assessment of where they're at. I don't know if Marika will get picked. I think Karevi is more likely to be picked than Korobetti, to just add some depth to that center pairing as well. But then again, you've got Ikitau who's playing well. You've got Suoli'i who's playing well. Maybe Suoli'i goes to fullback instead, and Tom Wright takes a wing spot. Who knows? It's going to be very, very interesting to see what the Wallaby squad pick is. I imagine that the 9-10 pairing will be McDermott and Liner. I think that continuity they have is very, very valuable for the Wallabies as well. The last time we sort of had that, really, when you think about it, was Nick White and Noah Lolosio for a couple of years for the Brumbies. But the more successful pairings I'm thinking of are Nick Phipps and Bernard Foley, and Will Genia and Quade Cooper. So it's proven that that can be a real asset to the Wallabies if they've got continuity there from club level to international level.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to put you on the spot. In the squad, I think Joe Smith announced that it's going to be selected either the week before or the week after, or the week of Super Rugby Pacific final. And he's thinking about selecting about 40-ish, like 37 to 40 is the range there. So there'll be a big squad. There's also the Western Force game towards the end of the season against the Lions, so that they may leave out some force. So there's going to be a big squad. It's going to be interesting who gets selected. But your backline right now, what would it look like with all the players, all the options that you've heard? Again, you've just mentioned McDermott and Liner. I'm assuming that's your 9-10 combo. Where
Yes.
does the rest fill in?
All right, McDermott 9, Liner 10. I'm going to be a bit different because I've been preaching Suoli at fullback, so I'm keeping it at fullback. So I'm going to say one winger Tom Wright, the other winger Max Jorgensen, centre pairing Karevi and Ikitau, Suoli at fullback.
I like a lot. Again, that's an X Factor backline. I'm interested. Again, not of our judgment, but we don't see a lot of Japanese rugby. Like when we talk about Karevi, when we talk Korobete, we know they're playing. It's a high enough level to be like what I would say it's the 5th best league in the world, 4th best league in the world. You look at, Super Rugby. I'm not naming them in order. I'm just saying Super Rugby, top 14, URC, Premiership. You'd probably say Pro 2 in France as a higher level, but then you kind of putting Japanese rugby. So it's a good enough level, but we don't know. Like I know Karevi's teams did last in the League One. So how has he been playing? What's his form? Again, I'm sure Joe Smith has all the data and numbers to tell him, but it's interesting just when you look at things like that. Let's jump onto the Lions squad then. Look, a really interesting squad naming to me. There's some players that stood out, some players that didn't. The big standout was Henry Pollock. I ask you because, again, you're a little bit further away from this. I'm in the heart of Henry Pollock territory in England. What have you heard about this player, Henry Pollock?
I've heard a lot from you about Henry Pollock, and that and I think we saw he plays for Northampton, right? I think what I've seen from him is there was something going around in the media a few weeks back where he was showing like a little bit of personality, a little bit of taunting when he scored a try, and then half of the fans were shitting on him. The other half were like, we need some personalities in the game. So that's the main thing I've heard from him. He looks like a beast, So that's really what I've heard from him is that he is a big old boy, that he has got some personality, and that he's very, very good.
Yeah, look, he is. I would agree with everything you said. He is an up-and-comer, obviously, 20 years old, is absolutely fantastic for Northampton, and again against Leinster, played fantastically. Has a reminiscent of I don't want to put this name on him too quickly, but like of those styles, Michael Hooper, Dave Pocock's, Richie McCaw type style, where bloody good tackler at number 7 can also jackal the ball better than anyone. So for 20 years old to be doing that, again, he was playing under 20s, then got the call up to the England Six Nations squad and quickly has now moved into a Lions. He's been through it. He's I wouldn't say he's a big number 7 either. He's about 100 kilos. That's big for a 20-year-old, I would say, but 1.86 metres. So he's not huge, but he does the dirty work and he does it well. He's athletic. He's very Hooperish already as a 20-year-old. I don't know where he fits into the Lions squad. Like, again, I don't know if he'll even start a test or play in a test unless there's injuries and stuff like that. I don't know if he's ready for that. Again, only just joined the Six Nations squad towards the end of their campaign as well for England. So he's a very interesting player that if he ends up in the squad will build a lot of hype. The biggest cheer for a player being selected in the live audience was for Henry Pollock. So he's got a lot of fanfare around him. I think if he does get into the squad, he'll bring that. He brings that Suoliti level of like belief and inspire that you think Australian rugby can turn themselves around because of Suoliti. I think England and the Lions think he can lead this team to greatness is the idea behind it. Obviously, certain players also missed out or have gone missing because of injury. Calen Doris, the big one there, was a potential captain candidate before they named Maro Itoje as the captain. I guess this is a big impact because he's been fantastic for any team he's played in Ireland, Leinster. Again, captain's Leinster, captain's Ireland, now missing from the tournament. I'm imagining as much as you never want to see players injured, you'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Look, anything that helps the Wallabies win, 100%. I'm just doing some quick maths here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the squad is dominated obviously by England and Ireland. 13 English players, 15 Irish players, 2 Welsh players, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Scotsmen. Obviously reflective of the Six Nation results there. Look, we were speculating there was even going to be 1 Welsh player picked. We've got 2 here from someone who is closer to the action. We talked about Jack Morgan a bit being potentially included. What about Thomas Williams in here? He's a scrum half?
Scrum half, yeah. It's an interesting position. There was a battle for the third scrum half between him and Ben White of Scotland. Realistically, there's 2 scrum halves that'll be playing, in my opinion. It's Jamison Gibson-Park and Alex Mitchell. Those 2 will be the 2. Whoever starts, that's the 2. Thomas Williams has been, if not the best player in the Premiership, so in England rugby, up there. He plays for Gloucester. He's been very, very, very good for them. And I think that's his form in the Premiership is what has got him to this British and Irish Lions team. Because, again, Wales being terrible as much as it can affect a player, the fact that you can still play really well in club rugby has shown. And for a team that I think finished 9th last year in Premiership, we're just about to make the finals. I think they need a couple of results to go their ways to even make it still. He's helped a lot with that performance. So I'm not surprised. I think when I was making my predictions, I think I picked him just purely based off that form. But I don't see him taking the field. I'm interested. I'd be surprised if Jack Morgan gets in the squad as well. When I look at the squad I would select, I don't know if I'd be selecting him. People, again, all the Welsh obviously want him in the squad, and all the Welsh. He's been playing well for Ospreys. He's been playing well for Wales, but I don't know. To me, I think there's better options. And I go, is this going to be a pity pick? Do you go to the Welsh and go, I'll give you 1 player in the squad? I don't know. The Lions aren't built on that. The Lions are built on winning any way they can. So, yeah, I think they'll end up, he'll be in and around the squad. I don't know if he makes it, and I don't know if he gets a pity.
Yeah, and I guess it's worth mentioning as well as a few Anzacs in the British and Irish Lions squad, which is, pretty interesting. Bundi Arki, Tui Pilotu. James Lowe's a Kiwi origin as well, isn't he?
Correct, mate. Played for the New Zealand Maldies against the British and Irish Lions.
Yeah, Mac Hansen as well. So,
you can build a 9, 11, 12, 13, 14 or you could even build more because you could put Duhans in there as well. So you could put Hansen at fullback. You could build on all a back line except for a 10 from players born outside of. Hey, again, I've got no problem with it. Like, I always love to make fun of it. I think it's fantastic to make fun of because you look at someone like Mac Hansen, who isn't Irish, may have Irish grandparents' roots, whatever it does to get him over there, and has taken his opportunity over there. Like, these players go over there for the opportunity and they've taken them. There's no doubt about it. But he's an Australian bloke. Like, if you ever look at him and you go, that's an Australian bloke. Same with Sione Tuipulotu. I go, again, Scottish heritage, has adapted well to Scotland, loves the Scottish part of his beliefs and systems and everything like that. He's an Australian Polynesian bloke. Again, we do the same over here. You look at Sivu Reece. Sivu Reece is Fijian, but always wanted to represent New Zealand. What's the difference when these guys go and do that? And then this, on the greatest stage of all, for those 4 nations, is to get into the British and Irish Lions, and for them to be good enough to do that is awesome for them as well. And I think it builds that banter. Can you not wait for Hansen and Tuipulotu to see the reaction from the crowd if they get in the team and stuff like that, and those as they run out? I imagine it'll be some traitor calls coming out as the banter flows, but I'm excited for those battles.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's going to be some exciting games as well. No matter who's picked where, Lions tours are always great. The Wallaby squad, I'm very, very interested to see who gets that, because who Schmidt picks there. It's really going to say a lot about his philosophy, I reckon. You have to wonder if Les Kiss is going to have any influence in that as well. He's going to be brought into anything of like an assistant role while we do that. Switching back to Super Rugby quickly, only what, 3 weeks left. Look, the hopes of Australia once more ride with the Brumbies and the Queensland Reds. The Queensland Reds are a game back, but they're 7 points behind the Brumbies. What we need in these last 3 weeks, what we really all need is a Chiefs loss. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're playing Moana
Pacifica. Got a nice
Pacifica.
run home. Yeah.
Yeah. Look. We need Ardie Savea to cement himself as the greatest player in Super Rugby history if they can pull off the upset against the Chiefs. Right.
Well, yeah, I agree. I'm fully on that. I think it starts this week. I think Ardie Savea legacy arc starts this week, because what he could do is history right here. He wins this week against the Blues, which is the biggest game in Super Rugby this year, because this could decide who finishes sixth, in my opinion. I know our Hurricanes, we're going to win out. My Hurricanes, we're going to win out. So we don't have to worry about them. They're going to finish either fourth or fifth. It doesn't matter. But the Blues and Moana are playing for that sixth spot. When I look at that and I go, say Moana wins this week, then as you said, next week goes and breaks history and beats the Chiefs in Hamilton. Again, they've set up the Brumbies to finish top of the table. They've also set themselves up to make the playoffs and knock the Blues out. I mean, is there a better moment? Is there a better legacy builder than saying you brought this team into the finals, you kicked out the Blues, and with that, the Australians also love you because you put the Brumbies at the top of the table. This is a legacy. This is an Anzac legacy being built here.
And then to cap it all off in the final week, he beats the Hurricanes and knocks them out of sixth spot. Moana Pacific goes up to fifth. Waratahs come into sixth. I don't know if you want that. I don't know if you want that, because the Hurricanes will then go to Canberra and beat the Brumbies like we've already done this season. So I don't know if you want that. You'll be knocked out. You'll go down from sixth to out of.
I see. And so you're that's not happening.
Waratahs come back up in.
I see what you're saying. Oh, you Waratahs are going to win a game, are they? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a tough run home for the Waratahs, but hey, crazier things have happened. Look, the big game of the week. I think we end with the two biggest games of the week, to be honest, with Moana Pacifica and the Blues and Brumbies Reds. Now, this is huge, far-reaching consequences for overall finals performances here. Just to make sure that they get that home semi, I want the Brumbies to win. And they are hosting, but it's going to be tough with their injuries. The Reds are they showed some real good form in that game, and I think they were hard done by in that game against the Drua. But yeah, look, the Brumbies are where the hopes of Australian rugby is right now. And especially Noah and Joseph Suaalii suffering the similar injuries, in back-to-back days is pretty tough for any Australian rugby fan to watch. But hopefully both of those two pull through okay. Elsewhere, your Hurricanes are hosting the Highlanders, Waratahs are hosting the Crusaders, the Drua is hosting the Force. Drua and Force is really the Force have got a slim chance of getting into the finals, and they're going to have to win well this week. Could also potentially force my Waratahs even further down as well. So, it's a tough one there. Your Canes and the Highlanders, your Canes need to just keep on rolling, keep on building some momentum, force the Blues down another step on the ladder. Waratahs Crusaders, that's the only team we beat last year, so hopefully we can continue that this year with a big home win.
Yeah, look, I mean, as you said, this is your opportunity to help the Australian nation of rugby out, because you beat the Crusaders here, you make it a lot less stressful if the Brumbies win in that last matchup. because the Brumbies have the bye next week, and then they play the Crusaders at home, which could decide home finals and opportunities there. So look, again, this is what we've always been asking for with the Super Rugby product. We want games going into the end of the season, so the pointy end of the season, all of the games matter. And every single game matters here. Even the forced Drua game, forced win, they keep their slim title playoff chances alive. Again, Waratahs, weight of a rugby nation on their shoulders. Hurricanes aren't going to lose to the Highlanders. We've beaten them in the Cape Town every year since 2015 when we lost to them in the final, so it's not going to happen. One, knocking out the Blues, the storyline written in stone. And then, yeah, as you said, the two best Australian teams for the past decade probably of Super Rugby in Australia, again, go to battle again to kind of decide who is top dog in the Australian nation. It's a fantastic week. This is what we want when we get to week 13 of fucking Super Rugby. And that's all I'm saying. It's week 14, round 14, sorry. This is all I've been asking for. So, look, if it took the Melbourne Rebels to leave, it took the Melbourne Rebels to leave, but we're in a really good place in Super Rugby. 3 more weeks to decide who is going to be making those playoff spots. To wrap us up, the Under-20 Rugby Championship. Mate, look, you've gone undefeated and still fucking not won.
Well, I was gonna come in here all kind and just be like, congratulations to you guys for beating South Africa in South Africa. Tremendous effort. This is great stuff. And then you're coming out here attacking me. It's like, okay, you guys didn't beat us.
No, we didn't, but we won. That's the thing. Like, imagine being Australian, not winning so much, and you win every game that you can. You draw a game. You go undefeated at a tournament, and still yet end up with no silverware. I've got a question that I've had bubbling this past week that I've been waiting to ask you, and I want to see what your thoughts are. There's 3 scenarios. I want you to rank them from most likely to happen to least likely to happen. Okay, the Bledisloe Cup. You haven't won in 20 plus years, so the next time you win the Bledisloe Cup, is that most likely to happen or least likely to happen? The next time the Wallaroos will beat the Black Ferns, because that hasn't happened in their 31-year history, I believe. So the Australian women's team has never met the New Zealand women's team in 15s rugby. So when was that most likely or least likely? And then the third thing, the under-20s to win the rugby championship. What's most likely to happen out of those 3 Australian rugby things, and what's least likely to happen?
We just saw that they came within a bonus point of winning the under-20s rugby championship, so I think that's the most likely, followed by the Bledisloe, followed by the Wallaroos, unless Rugby Australia gets their finger out of their ass and starts putting in some proper effort for the Wallaroos.
I sat there and I was like, this is fantastic. We haven't lost a Bledisloe in 20 plus years. The women's team can't lose to you lot, and we've just won a tournament without even having to beat you guys. That's fantastic. New Zealand rugby's great. I don't know what you Aussies are on about. You're Sueli, oh, he's a saviour. You worry about your British and Irish Lions series. We'll worry about the proper rugby, and we'll leave it at that, my friend.
Well, we've got the British and Irish Lions, so we've got to worry about it. You guys get the benefit. You guys get the benefit of not having to worry of us having to go through the ringer of a British and Irish Lions tour before facing you. I mean, if you guys lose a game to us this year, you should be embarrassed, because we've just had to go through some of the most physical rugby. Like this is like having hiring someone to go break your opponent's leg before you fight them, like in kickboxing as well. Like that's what this is like. We're about to get put through the meat grinder, and then you'll come out on the other side and be like, oh, these Aussies, what's going on?
So in 2017, when we continued to hold on to the Bledisloe after our British and Irish Lions series, what happened there?
Rugby Australia were in the shitter then. Raylene Carson was just messing everything up, It's all to do with the administration.
That, I knew it was going to be Raylene Carson.
Yeah, it's all her fault. It's an inside job,
You know what? You know what? This British and Irish Lions series could be a blessing in disguise, because in 2017, we went undefeated in the Rugby Championship. So yeah, look, you never know. This could be this could build up nicely for you to just flow in.
This could be the pre-salt in the steak before you put it on the barbecue. Yeah,
exactly. You could get the best run up. Maybe you use the British and Irish Lions series as a build up to win the Bledisloe back. Again, my assumption here's the thing. Rugby Australia, if you win a British and Irish Lions series over the Bledisloe or the Rugby Championship, it's a successful year. If you come out with a trophy, it's a successful year. So you will trade, like say, the British and Irish Lions series doesn't go your way. Say it ends up 2-1. It's a great series, but it doesn't go your way. And that turns into a Bledisloe win. That's the most successful British and Irish Lions series you could have had. You turn in there, you go, look, we get to face them every 12 years. We haven't won a Bledisloe in 20 plus years. Like, this is a great success. So you'll be asking for more British and Irish Lions series. But yeah, look, it's a fantastic time in rugby. This is all I'm saying.
Yes.
It's a great time to be in rugby. Great time to be involved. Again, over the next 3 weeks, we've got Super Rugby chat coming up because Super Rugby goes into the hot season. As that finishes, we roll straight into the British and Irish Lions series. A lot of team namings to be named there. The All Blacks face France. What team they'll send over with their finals coming up will be interesting. But yeah, a lot happening in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for us as we continue to discuss it. For now, thank you. I've been Luke. That has been Husey. We'll talk to you next time. See you later. Goodbye.
Peace.